In this video, we're going to talk about a running shoe that combines the airiness of a sandal with the responsiveness and propulsiveness of a running shoe. In this video, we're going to talk about the TEVA Aventrail running sandal. Hey runners, and welcome to my channel. My name is Letty and I'm the host of the weekly marathon running podcast. And this channel, Letty Runs on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today we're going to talk about a running sandal. That's a first. But before we do that, here is a quick disclaimer. This shoe has been provided to me for the purpose of review. However, no one is paying me for this review and all opinions expressed here are my own. All right, so with the disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about the model and purpose of this running sandal. This shoe, according to the TEVA website, was made for hikes, outdoor adventures, trail runs, but even more than that, technical distance trail running. All right, so moving on to the tech specs of the shoe, I tried to find the weight of the shoe online. I could not find it. But as you guys know, I weigh my own shoe anyway. This shoe is an 8.5 women's shoe, and it comes in at 9.95 ounces, which is 282 grams. As for the drop, the shoe has a 6mm drop. The stability and cushioning of the shoe is not listed on the website, but given that it does not have an aggressive rocker and the platform is really wide, I would call the shoe a very stable shoe. And I also would call it a pretty cushioned shoe because you can see it has a high stack and pretty good foaming. So that is that. As for the price point, this shoe comes in currently on the website at $145. When it comes to the colors of the shoe comes in 3 different colors for women and 3 different colors for men. For women, these colors are Larkspur Scarlet, Marshmallow Marigold, and Bird Drive Vivid Violet. When it comes to the men's shoe, these colors are Pesto, Young Wheat, Total Eclipse Green Flash, and Black Charcoal. All right, so moving on to the key features, this is where things get interesting because this is not a regular running shoe like we do them normally. Let's talk from top to bottom. Let's start with the upper. And what do we see right here? You see a 3-point strapping system, meaning that this shoe, instead of having laces and having your shoe locked in the normal way, you don't have that. So they have created this 3-point strapping system where you have a strap going across right above your toes that you can secure and make as tight or loose as you want. Same right here underneath your ankle, and then one more time in the heel. And so you can kind of almost custom your shoe strapping maybe a little bit better than with most shoes, just because normally you just have the laces. You don't have a way of adjusting how the toe box will fit around your foot. So that's pretty interesting. Now underneath that you have the very stretchy and very comfortable material. I'm just trying to show you here how stretchy this is, which allows your foot to move around with the sandal and the bending of the shoe very well. You have right at the what you would normally call a heel collar, you have another pad that has been added to the shoe for comfort, so you don't get chafing, because obviously it is a concern if the straps were to directly touch your skin, but that is impossible in any of these places just because you have fabric underneath it, and that fabric is really soft. You have a pull tab which is functional. It keeps the strap in place. And then you have a pull tab right here which lets you slide into your shoe very well. The straps are secured on the side of your shoe. For the back strap, there is material that secures the strap, where they also have their branding on it. There is no tongue to talk about, so there's no talking about gusseted tongues or anything like that. And that's pretty much it. That is what makes the upper for the shoe. Again, it is very soft. Now let's talk about what they call the hyper comfy midsole, which is a combination of EVA foam and supercritical foam. Supercritical foam is a nitrogen injected foam to give it more cushiness and also more responsiveness. And then at the bottom, you see the super grippy, sturdy outsole that makes you realize that this indeed is a trail shoe. Has a lot of detail on it, and I mean the grippiness of the shoe is really good. I'm trying to show it to you from a good way. So that is that for the shoe. And now I'm going to talk to you about my first impression when I received the shoe. I actually saw this shoe at an expo and then I was sent a pair. And my first reaction was I was pretty intrigued. And I was also a little bit skeptical because this is not the average running shoe, right? You have to have a certain level of comfort in yourself to be the person running in a running sandal when there's 1,000 different running shoes out there and literally nobody is running in running sandals. But I was definitely up for it. I wanted to try out the shoe and see how it goes. The color pattern of the shoe was also a little bit loud, so it's not just that you're running in a running sandal, but you're also running in a very noticeable pair of shoes. So that added to me being intrigued and maybe a little bit hesitant in wearing it out in my neighborhood because I wasn't going to wear it as a trail shoe. I was just going to try it out, run from here to the park, run around with it there and see how it went. So that was that. So I was very excited to try out the shoe and I'm going to now show you what the shoe looks like in action. All right, so now that you saw me running in the shoe, I'm going to tell you about the experience of all of this. I put on the shoe and I didn't want to love it because it was so loud, but I ended up really liking how it felt initially. I put it on my foot and like I kind of said in the intro, it was very nice that you could personalize the shoe to fit exactly your foot. You could adjust all the straps to make it as tight or as loose around whatever parts of the foot according to your preference. And I really, really like that. So I made the shoe fit very well. And then I first decided to just take it for a walk around my neighborhood. Another thing I forgot to mention about the shoe is that this shoe can be worn with or without socks. And you guys that follow me know that I don't wear socks in my running shoes normally. So I wasn't going to do that for a trail shoe. However, that kind of added to my hesitation. I wasn't sure if this was going to be a possible thing to do. Because what if you get rocks on your toes? Is that going to hurt? Especially running trails. But anyway, I went for that walk, and while I was walking, I realized that, yeah, this is definitely something that feels like a really good running shoe. So the next day, I only took the shoe for a run, and I have to say I absolutely loved it. I was cautious. I only ran a 10-mile run, and I was hoping that I wouldn't have any chafings, bruisings, or blisters, and I didn't. The shoe felt super amazing. Most of my run was in the streets, so I cannot speak to the experience on whether you get rocks on your toes. I'm sure that is something that a trail runner can address more because my park is pretty tame. It's gravel roads, but you know, the tiny little pebbles and a lot of dirt running and not really anything that has a lot of rocks. So I didn't go up any crazy canyons or anything with the shoe, but I did take it for a walk and the comfort of the shoe was very great. It is on the heavier side, but since I was doing an easy run, I'm used to shoes that are a little bit heavier. The cushioning of the shoe was amazing. The fact that my toes could spread out on this wide plate was also amazing. And I actually got stopped one time by a lady who wanted to know what kind of shoes I was wearing because she sees me all the time and she was a little bit intrigued by them as well. And I told her, you know, they fit really well and you can adjust them. Towards the end of my run, I felt like maybe I should loosen the straps in the front a little bit to let my toes spread out even more. And so I did that and it felt pretty amazing. So that was my experience with this shoe. Also, I think I got a little bit of a tan line on my toes because I live in Florida. But yeah, that's it. So who do I recommend this shoe for? I recommend the shoe for anyone that wants to have a little bit of fun with their runs, because at a price point of $145, you're kind of in the ballpark of most trainers. And you can just add it to your shoe rotation now that it's summer and do some easy miles in them. If you live in trails, I think this is a very grippy choice. Again, I can't speak to whether or not pebbles or rocks will be a problem with this shoe, but I feel like this is a very fun shoe. I feel like it's a cool sandal, and definitely if you don't want to run in them and you want to do some hikes, this is the shoe to go with. I'm going to put that in my suitcase for the next time I go on a hike anywhere else. So that is that. Overall, I think for what TEVA was trying to do, which they said they wanted to create something that is comfortable like a sandal and airy and responsive, they did a good job with that. And obviously people as fast as Mike Wardian embrace the shoe. I don't know if you guys know that, but he's one of their sponsored athletes. So he wears TEVA shoes all the time. I don't know if he wears the actual sandal. They also have another model where the toes are covered, but this is a great trail shoe and I can't wait to wear it on a hike and do some running in the mountains. So that's that. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have the shoe, or if you have questions, or if you have any experience with the shoe, feel free to put that down in the comment box. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, have a great week of running.